Japanese employment system, alongside its government, has collapsed. Students see no benefit in going to school and getting a degree, which causes the number of high school dropouts to skyrocket. Most dropouts indulge in one or the other criminal activities. Adults lose trust in youngsters since most of them have turned into criminals. In times of emergency, the only way to save society is by eliminating the high schoolers before they get a chance to ruin the country altogether. In a desperate attempt, the government passes a reform act called the Battle Royale. According to the act, every year, a class of high school students are put against each other in a fight to the death. This way, only one out of hundreds of students survives, which further benefits society. The movie begins as a reporter frantically announces the return of a schoolgirl to mainland Japan. She has returned after winning a deadly game of Battle Royale. One might think that a teenage girl who was made to kill her friends for survival might have gone through hell, but when the camera zooms into her face, she stares at us with a sinister smile. Then, we're introduced to the protagonist of the film, Shuya. He is a kid in middle school, traumatized by his mother's abandonment and his father's death. Because of personal problems, he hardly ever attends school. His friend Noriko, however, is a kind and polite girl. She goes to the class and is the only one present. Because of the students' bad behavior, their teacher Kitano has been distressed lately. As he is leaving the class, a student stabs him in the leg, just for the fun of it. After recovering from the injury, Kitano resigns from his post and never looks back at the students again. 1 year after the incident, Shuya and Noriko are in high school. Their class is going on an educational trip. Everything goes well for the first half of the ride. A few hours later, Shuya wakes up to see that all of his friends are unconscious. The bus driver and conductor are wearing gas masks. When they notice he is awake, the conductor knocks him out. In the following scene, he wakes up again and finds himself in a classroom with all his classmates. They gain consciousness and look around, trying to figure out what is going on. They also have a strange device attached to their necks that doesn't come off. Suddenly, several helicopters land outside, and an army of soldiers comes out. Alongside them is Kitano, the teacher who the children used to disrespect until he resigned. He tells a confused class that they have been recruited to take part in Battle Royale. 2 outsider students named Shogo and Kazuo are also in the room who are supposed to take part with them. The 2 have already played with their classmates and are more experienced than the others. Kitano plays a video to explain how the game works, but a girl whispers to her friends in the middle of it. The teacher throws a knife at her and scores a direct hit on her forehead, killing her. The students panic and finally realize the severity of the situation. They watch the video attentively after that. It turns out that they are on a remote island with no way to escape. The students will be given a bag full of supplies that they will have to use for their protection or to attack others. The collars on their neck are tracking devices and microphones. If they try to escape or do anything against the rules, it will explode. A guy panics and refuses to listen to the presentation. Because of the disruption, Kitano presses a button that causes an explosion, resulting in the student's death. If more than one student is left by the end of 3 days, all their collars will explode, leaving no winner. The thought of dying brutally like their friend scares everyone and motivates them to play the game. Following that, the soldiers bring them a supply bag that contains the same 4 survival products, but the weapons on all of them are different. They hand them the bags one after another before sending them outside. The newcomers, Shogo and Kazuo, are also given a random bag, but Shogo insists that he get a new one because his is too light. The 2 are ready to kill anyone to become the winners, having already killed people they were close to. Shuya finally gets his head in the game and rushes outside with his bag. Suddenly, one of his classmates who had run out earlier emerges from the forest. When she gets closer, Shuya notices the arrow sticking out of her throat. It is clear that people have already started killing each other. Noriko also comes outside, but before the 2 can decide their next move, a guy with a crossbow attacks them. They run away, leaving the guy to fight another one of their classmates. The couple then ends up in a cave where Shuya checks Noriko's arm that was injured earlier. Unfortunately for them, their bag contains a pot cover and binoculars as weapons. Somewhere else, a group of students surrounds Kazuo, trying to intimidate him. They believe that since he is an outsider, they should kill him first, but a guy makes the mistake of approaching Kazuo with a gun. In an instant, he gets hold of the gun and manages to defeat the entire group without breaking a sweat. Then, he takes their weapons and makes his way to beat the others. The pressure of fighting for survival is too much for some students to take. Many of them commit the unthinkable. After that, we are introduced to a girl named Mitsuko. Unlike the others, the situation has turned her into a cold-blooded murderer. She kills a friend and doesn't even feel a hint of sympathy for her. The next morning, Shuya and Noriko bump into a friend with an axe who launches at them. Shuya makes Noriko run away before fighting the guy himself. The pot cover comes in handy to dodge the attacks, but they soon fall down the hill. In the process, the guy hits himself on the head with the axe. Shuya looks at him in regret, even though all he did was defend himself. Following that, he and Noriko run away again. This time they are stopped by a scared guy with a gun. He nervously asks them to stay where they are, too afraid to actually shoot them. Taking the opportunity, Shogo shoots the guy dead and takes his gun. He notices that Shuya and Noriko are not trying to harm anyone and agrees to take them in for more protection. Then, they see two girls calling people for help. They want everyone to join them and figure out the situation together. Shuya tries to go help, but Shogo stops him, knowing that someone else might have heard them. Hence, the zone is not safe. He is proven correct when Kazuo appears and kills the girls by showering them with bullets. He makes sure to put the horn in their mouths for the last shot so everyone would hear the scream and know who to stay away from. In the following scene, Mitsuko enters a small warehouse to rest, but sees a girl inside. She points her gun at Mitsuko, knowing that she is not one of the good ones. Mitsuko gets on her knees, begging for her life, but she slyly tases her before shooting her dead. In the meantime, a group of guys is fixing a laptop. They plan to hack the collars and escape the island together. At night, Shogo, Shuya, and Noriko stay at a tiny warehouse. Shogo reveals that when he played the game before, he was with his friend. The two were the only survivors, but one of them had to die for the other to survive. His friend pretended to betray him and shot his leg so that Shogo would kill her. Her plan worked, but Shogo has never regretted something more in his life. Since she died for him, he vowed to play again and find a way to escape. Suddenly, gunshots are heard from outside. Outside, Kazuo is after a guy who is wearing a bulletproof vest. Since he cannot take the guy down with bullets, he resorts to a sword. After decapitating the poor man, he hears a noise from inside the house that the trio is in. He puts a grenade into the mouth of the head and throws it inside the house. Fortunately, the group escapes just seconds before the explosion. Shuya runs outside to distract him, but is cornered in the process. Kazuo runs out of bullets, which gives him the chance to escape. He jumps into the water just in time to dodge the attacks. The next morning, Shuya wakes up in a lighthouse while being taken care of by a girl named Utsumi. She and her group of friends ask him to stay with them until they reunite with the rest of the group. If they stay together, they may have a higher chance of escaping. One girl from the group was the friend of the guy who died with an axe in his head while fighting Shuya yesterday. To take revenge, she mixes poison with the food they are about to give Shuya. However, her plan fails when a girl eats the food before she can be stopped. The effect of the poison soon starts to show, and she dies, vomiting blood. The girls panic and start blaming each other for poisoning the food. A girl gets her hands on the gun and fires at all of them. The chaos ends with the death of everyone, except for the girl who poisoned the food. Shuya knocks on the door, having heard gunshots. He is received by the girl, who apologizes to him and runs to the top of the tower. Shuya goes inside and is distraught to see all of his friends dead. He runs after the surviving girl, only to see that she too has committed the unthinkable. Somewhere else, Noriko gets a dream about having a heart-to-heart conversation with Kitano. She had always respected him, unlike the other kids, and sympathizes that he was never respected. At the same time, Kitano gets a call from his family who does not care about him. His own daughter calls him, insulting him before hanging up the phone. He has always been treated terribly in his life, which is one of the reasons why he volunteered to be a part of the Battle Royale program. Later that day, Shuya comes looking for Noriko and Shogo, even though he is severely injured. Noriko also wanders around the forest and bumps into Mitsuko, who makes fun of her for hiding behind men. She is about to attack her, but runs away after seeing Kitano approach. At the same time, Shuya meets them but falls unconscious. Kitano gives Noriko his umbrella and leaves without saying anything. He is kind to her because she was the only person who was nice to him during the lowest time of his life. At the same time, Mitsuko meets a girl at a warehouse, crying over her friend's death. She kills the girl, but is attacked by Kazuo seconds later. Just when he thinks she is dead, she tases him and counterattacks with a sickle. Kazuo, who is already prepared with a bulletproof vest, doesn't die from the attacks. In turn, he pushes her away and finally shoots her dead. In the following scene, Shogo, Shuya, and Noriko are on their way to the warehouse where the hackers are staying. The hacker is still trying to gain control over the collar devices, while the others are preparing explosives with the materials they found around the island. They plan to kill the military and Kitano, which is their only chance to escape. After a lot of work, the hacker passes through the control system and disables the tracking device from all the collars. The group of guys then load a vehicle outside with explosives, but before they can move, Kazuo arrives and ambushes all of them. In a desperate attempt to kill Kazuo, a guy lights up the explosives and dies in the ensuing explosion. The trio runs out and sees the dead bodies of the only friends they had left. Kazuo is still alive, but has lost vision in both of his eyes because of the explosion. He fires randomly, but manages to get Shogo in the shoulder. Still, Shogo attacks Kazuo repeatedly and eventually kills him. Following that, the trio goes to the shore, where Shogo reveals that he was only pretending to be their friend because he wanted them to protect him. Now that they are the only ones left, killing them would benefit him the most. With that being said, he shoots at the last couple and wins the game. Kitano hears the noise and declares the game is over. The soldiers do not take much time before returning home, leaving Kitano alone on the island. The next morning, Shogo finds him exercising. They go inside, where Kitano finds out that Shogo's collar is disabled. Shuya and Noriko come inside, pointing a gun at Kitano and revealing that they are still alive. However, to their surprise, Kitano already seems to know that. He shows them a picture he painted of the battle, where Noriko is the sole survivor because she is his favorite student. He points a gun at them, but is shot dead before he does any harm. As he dies, Kitano reveals that his gun was fake and he didn't want to live anymore. Following that, the survivors take a boat to mainland Japan, but since Shogo has lost a lot of blood from the injury, he passes away on the way. In the last scene, Shuya and Noriko are seen walking around a city, determined to lead a happy life. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.